Good morning to day 3, which I'm actually filming on day 2, but I'm going to make some perfect muffins out of the Fluffo cookbook. I told Scott I was going to start trying some different recipes out of this. If you can find it at a thrift store. We have not tried a recipe in this that has been a failure. They've all been absolutely delicious. So look for this in used books or the thrift stores. It's called the Golden Fluffo Cookbook. And today we're going to do perfect muffins, but I'm going to add some craisins. It says to use fresh or frozen cranberries and put some sugar on it. I'm just going to use dried cranberries, and I'm going to make them in the big muffin tins. Instead of 12 small, I'm going to make 6 huge. So good morning and welcome to day 3. Okay, a bit more light. I started measuring out things and I couldn't find the teaspoon measure in the mess that this drawer was. So I've pulled everything out of the drawer, drew a sink of hot soapy water, and I'm hand washing everything that lives in that drawer. And then I'm going to reorganize that drawer and the big drawer behind it. And does that ever happen to you? Do you get sidetracked with some kind of organizing project in the middle of making something? Okay, I feel better now. This is my baking, measuring devices, and that kind of stuff. And I've used 2 little, I'd say Tupperware, but plasticware that never really worked for Scott carrying lunches. So I threw the lids away and they fit perfect side by side. So now I've got my odd bits of like lemon baller and butter, making butter balls or curls and that kind of stuff, nut pickers. And then this is russing up a bird, pins and hullers for strawberries and that kind of stuff. And then this is teaspoons and tablespoons, and that's everything under a teaspoon. Measuring cups, pastry blenders, basting brushes are back in there, and a scoop, and then an egg slicer and a potato. You push it over a potato and it makes it like French fries. And then this stuff is going to go live in that drawer after I get done with the muffins. Okay, this is a new one on me because I'm using Fluffo, which is like Crisco, which that's what that is. That's Crisco. But Fluffo, it would be, from what I read, it would be more like the old, it was an older brand, but it would be like the butter Crisco, butter flavored Crisco we used to be able to get, but you can't get anymore. So I'm just going to use regular Crisco. When I did the brownies the last time, I did the half of Crisco, half of butter for the amount asked for in the recipe, and that turned out really good. So if you want it to be absolutely like a Fluffo recipe, I would suggest just dividing shortening or Crisco and butter to equal amounts to come to your total amount needed in the recipe. I hope that made sense. But anyway, I have to cut the shortening in with a pastry blender, which usually with muffins you put the dry ingredients in, make a well in the middle, and then dump all your liquids in. So this is interesting. They're rising very well. Muffins and coffee. Just out the oven, and Scott is awake, and we both have a cup of coffee. So this will be what breaks our night. So it will be the first part of our breakfast, and I will probably make some kind of eggs and stuff as well for Scott, because he likes breakfast. It's his favorite meal of the day. All right, I've already given Scott his, but I thought I would cut this in half. And see, I added some butter, as I like butter on my muffins. But that's cranberries, dried cranberries. And look how flaky they are. Yum! Another successful Fluffo recipe. All right, I just want to give some feedback. The texture on these muffins is absolutely divine. but they're too salty. There's way too much salt in this recipe for somebody that's been low salt for a while. And I don't think I need to put that much salt in it. So I'm going to make a note right in my cookbook to probably half or maybe 3/4 this down. So I'm only putting 1/4 to a half a teaspoon of salt instead of a full teaspoon of salt. That's just way too much salt. But I wanted to let you all know that they are a wonderful texture. They're just too salty for me. But I did manage to eat all but that. But they're a beautiful muffin. They really are. It's a shame they've turned out salty. And for anybody that likes salt, though, they probably would be delicious. But it's too much for Scott and I. But I wanted to give feedback. Okay, me on the muffins again. Just a side note, it called for 2 tablespoons of sugar, and Scott and I agreed that was not enough sugar for muffins. So we're going to decrease the salt to a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but we're going to up the sugar to a 1/4 to a half a cup, not 2 tablespoons, and see if we can improve this recipe to get it perfect to our liking. And as we do more muffins in the future, I'm not going to bake more muffins today, but I will give you further feedback on this recipe. It's a real shame that these are not very sweet and they're salty because they're beautiful. And that's the last of the feedback on the muffins. On to sausage and eggs. Okay, I'm packaging up my slow stitched ornament for a charity because she was my partner. So I'm packaging that up and making more Christmas cards. I didn't have quite enough made. So that's my next step for today. Well, my cards are ready to go. I'm just waiting on the stamps.
Scale.
We received our very first Christmas card. Thanks, Dawn. It's so cute. Look. It's just a postcard. Oops, don't show addresses, Becky. Let's flip it over that way. There we go. And there's from Kenneth and Dawn. Thank you, guys. Just getting set up here for my weekly Wednesday evening. And I usually start at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I'm just getting set up for that. I haven't a plan as to what we're doing tonight. But I hope a lot of you had stayed tuned, and because this won't go up till tomorrow morning. But this is my setup. This is my work table. Scott sits over there at the big green desk. We're hoping to find another big green desk for him and get him set up in his own space. But this is my hobby space now. Here, just a little tour around. This is actually our so-called formal dining room. But this will just give you a sneak peek of what that looks like now. And then there's Mr. Scott.
Looking at the free times.
And that's a local newspaper rag type thing that you can get. Free times. And the Christmas tree and the dining room. So, and there's our trash picked picture. The handmade wreath is going to go above the fireplace as soon as I get some picture hangers in. So, oh, what? Scott wants to add some bits. Do you want me to turn the light on?
Yeah. Turn it on.
Oh, he wants to show the picture we haven't hung yet.
This was thrifted for practically nothing. $5 or $6, I think.
Yeah, it's got the tag on the front.
And I just love this picture.
It says $45, but we got it half off that day.
Yeah. So.
He said she reminds him of me.
Yep.
So that is actually going to hang on the wall behind where the Christmas tree is. All right, this is the end of the day. The cats have settled in. I've done my 3-hour live. I did 3 hours of live. And this is what we made. These were all offcuts from making my Christmas cards, and I saved them and I turned them into gel print magic. So with the help of the gang on my live, we created all of these prints. Some I may revisit and maybe add a little stenciling to them, but they all turned out really pretty, and I want to thank y'all for watching, and I hope this day 3, which is actually, this is December 2nd, but I'm counting it as my day 3 to show you guys what I do. And if you would like to participate in a Wednesday night live with me, I start at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we do something artsy, sewing. I don't know, it depends on the mood I'm in. But I wanted some painty papers to make thank you cards, and so now I will, when I determine that these are 100% done, they'll be cut into little 1-inch squares, tiles, and I will make art with the 1-inch square tiles. And I'll do that in another video in the future. But in the meantime, happy Vlogmas day 3.